is going to send an organization to show up that way. And
really,
most people do not like to invest in disorganized people unless they do have a team supporting them. Like you said, the technician, somebody who's really good at what they do, surrounding themselves with bookkeepers, CPAs, CFOs, of the like. But yeah, I've had a lot of experience raising capital, and it really is a full-time job if you're going to go out there and get the money that you need.
Wow. So you said something. Investors don't like to invest in people who are disorganized. Is there a general theme that you see when you do pitch competitions or talk to investors? Is there something general that they all want to know?
I think the one thing that I see a lot is they want to know the numbers inside and out. But beyond the numbers, because those are all over the board in terms of how good somebody is at what they do in producing those numbers. But what I noticed is the main question that investors seem to get at is, why are you doing this business? Why should we invest in you? And a lot of questions really get to the heart of the entrepreneur and why they're doing what they're doing. Does that make sense? Like they're like, yeah, we can read the numbers and we'll verify those in the bank accounts and we'll verify all that good stuff. But what we can't verify
is what's motivating you.
What is motivating you? And I have saw so many people give pitches to raise capital, show up disorganized. I can't tell you how many people show up to Shark Tank without all of the things that they need, stuff for their set.
Oh, no.
It's a disaster to watch.
Oh, man. We've been talking to Angela Cody, owner of Major Mom. She's been in multiple pitch contests. She's been on ABC's Shark Tank. Angela, why don't you tell the listeners the website and how they can get a hold of you?
Okay, our website is majormom.biz, and they can go straight to the website, click Contact Us. If anybody out there listening has some questions about organizing their home office or just entrepreneurial questions in general, we have a question button on our website. If you hit Contact Us, that questions will be directed directly to me, and I can spend a few seconds with you and help you out, because getting organized is not a luxury. It's a necessity.
Oh, I like that. I like that. Angela Cody, owner of Major Mom, thanks for taking your time out on homebabiz.com.
Thank you so much. I hope you have a majorly organized day.
Connect, capitalize, go. All new Radio for Business.
It's the podcast for business.
After that, I'm not doing people's lunch dishes.
Highlighting the best emerging talent.
Oh my God, all these people that have gotten the product and wrote up on it. That's amazing.
The podcast for business, live every weekday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern.
If I think positive about the results, only positive results are going to come to me.
You never know what you'll hear.
If we didn't have that foundation, I don't think I would have had the balls. Well, I don't have balls, but
hey, you can say it. We're on the internet. It's okay.
Okay. I wouldn't have had the guts to do that.
Connect, capitalize, go. All new Radio for Small Business.
Do you remember how awesome it felt to receive a real handwritten note in the mail from a friend? Tomer Alpert of Felt is bringing that feeling back. Tomer Alpert, welcome to Radio for Small Business.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, why don't you tell us what Felt is? I had a chance to visit the website. I think it's really cool. But why don't you tell the listeners a little bit about your business?
Sure. So Felt is an iPhone and iPad app that lets you send personal handwritten cards in the mail. You simply select your card, then you get to handwrite your message. You can use your finger or a stylus, and then we print that card on premium paper and mail it for you. We hand apply a stamp and take it to the USPS within 24 hours.
So I can already see where this would make my life a lot easier. My wife likes to send cards, after almost everything that we do. Okay. So where'd the idea even come from? Where'd you come up with this thing?
So my wife and I, Gracie, went to a dinner party one night, and on the way home, she wanted to send the host a thank you card. And the stores were all closed. We had no idea where our stamps were. And I thought, there just has to be an app by now that lets you do this. So we went onto the App Store, and the only apps that existed let you type your message, and then they printed your literal like text message onto a card. And we just didn't feel that was very personal. So we got really excited and, basically went to work the next day on creating Felt, building our team, and starting this journey.
Wow, just like that. So from a party, wanting to be a good guest and saying thank you, you realize there's nothing out there because, of course, there's supposed to be an app for that, right? It wasn't out there, and you came up with the idea. So I heard you say you and your wife went to work together. So how'd you guys kind of get started putting the business together? Did you start working on the app first or the business first? I heard you mention team. What came first for you?
Yeah, the first thing that I did was, I wanted was an app.
Wow.
Because it was their handwriting and it looked so authentic. And so that was the first thing that we did. Yep. And then we started building our team. Once we figured out we could make a card look real and just replace pen and paper with your app and your finger, we started building the team. And the first thing that we looked is like, okay, what don't we do well? What parts of this business are we going to need to find other people to help us with? And the very first one, I have a lot of experience in entrepreneurship, but never in consumer products and consumer brands. Okay. And I knew from day one that I wanted Felt to be a brand that millions of people used. So I quickly looked through my network and within a day found the perfect partner for Felt. And they so we're 4 co-founders. David and Andrew are the 2 that we found through our network. And they are, brand experts. They're advertising executives and brand launching experts. Wow. So they helped us put the whole thing together.
That's crazy because most people would ask themselves, what can I do to save the most money? And you said, what do I not do well? What kind of training or mentality had you developed before then to get you to even ask that question?
Yeah, what got me to ask that question was my experience building a startup with my dad, actually. And after high school, I started going to college. And then he approached me and asked if I wanted to help him with his business. So I dropped out of college, quickly helped him start that business, but we started it out of our apartment. And we went through a grueling experience of bootstrapping. We got evicted from 2 different apartments.
Oh, man.
As we were building the product. But what I learned from my dad was you can literally do so much more than you think you can do with just what you have. And so I carried that mentality into Felt and did as absolutely much as we could do on our own. That means all of our savings went into Felt, hundreds of thousands of dollars, credit card bills. But beyond that, it was also partnerships. It was like, okay, typically, for instance, our 2 partners are brand executives, and they run one of the premier design firms in the country. And typically, I think a lot of people would think, okay, we should raise money so that we can go hire people like that. But I also know that to build a real business, people need to have ownership. They need to be putting their sweat and tears into it. And you don't do that if you're doing it just as a contractor or as a vendor.
Oh, okay.
You do that only if it's your business.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so I made them, full-time partners in Felt over a period of time. But that was always the vision.
So kind of like giving them equity, sweat equity, so to speak, I'm guessing?
Yeah, sweat equity. Yeah, I think that's what I would call it, too.
Gotcha. So not only that, but you eventually decided, to start raising capital. We all know you were on ABC's Shark Tank. A lot of people think that's just a game show. What's different from the viewer's side that's totally different on the side when you're on the carpet pitching for investors?
Yeah, I think the notion that it's a game show is not correct. I can say going through the process now, it's legit. The sharks don't know the company's coming out. Their first experience with you, unless they've heard about you, other ways, but typically their first experience is right then and there. So, that part is real and it's authentic. And I think the other part, the flip side of that is the entrepreneurs going on the show. We especially went on the show when we were ready. Our product was ready. We were out of money. We really needed an investor to give us capital because we had everything else built. The product was ready to go. The team was ready to go. We figured out all the different issues, right, that you figure out along the way. We did all of that on our own dime. And now we were ready to bring on an investor because the investor's risk was dramatically reduced with felt. Felt wasn't just an idea that had to be built. It was a good idea that had already been built and had already been figured out. We actually rebuilt the product 3 different times.
Wow.
Because we started when there was a very small iPhone in 2015, and then the bigger iPhones came out, and then the iPad Pro came out, and then Apple built a stylus that lets you handwrite, in a very real way.
So it sounds like, and I didn't want to cut you off, but going back to what you just said, it sounds like you spent a lot of time, invested a lot of time in building a system, a business system, so that when you did take it to those sharks, they would take more note of it just because you were not some guy with a piece of paper and you had to value the company confidently without building that networking system before you went on Shark Tank. What do you think you would have had to evaluate at in order to get a shark interested?
So we devalued our company when we went on Shark Tank.
Wow.
When we talked to private investors, it was valued much higher. And, we did that strategically. We wanted to engage the sharks on a positive note. We didn't want to go into Shark Tank and, look greedy. We didn't want to go into Shark Tank from a negotiation standpoint. We wanted to go on there trying to, attract the best investor.
Gotcha.
And we wanted them to know that we're being very upfront. We know they have value beyond just capital. And so we're valuing that differently than we would if we went to just a normal private investor who can't bring, media exposure, partnerships, and other things to the table.
Right.
And so we were just very upfront.
That's the great thing about being on the television exposure, right? You probably got access to tens, if not hundreds of millions of people in a single night. And I agree with you. I think there is a value to that. So I appreciate you really kind of going that angle, because I don't know. I talk to people and they still think you just show up, you put some things on a table, and the sharks want to give you money.
Yeah, but I think it's part of our culture at Felt is just to be very upfront, very transparent, very real and honest. And so I think we did a really good job of not losing that when we went kind of on to the primetime big stage finally.
Cool. Well, I got to tell you, I do think I'll be going on to Felt a little later today, Tomer. And I think I'll be sending out some postcards myself. I like the idea of being able to take the picture and put my fingerprints on it and not actually have to find a stamp, find an envelope, and trek over to the post office. Do your customers tell you similar things?
Yeah, that's the number one reason people use Felt, is because it's the perfect marriage of modern day technology with this tradition. And it's still made to keep the authenticity intact, right? It's still your handwriting. You created it. The only thing that's different is that you never touched the piece of paper. You just used your phone or your iPad in front of you. And I think that, some people still want to go out to the store and get a card and lick the envelope and do something like that. And that's totally fine. That's totally cool. I think we hear like 50-50. Like half the people who see Felt love it. They think that it's awesome. They think that it maintains enough authenticity to send their mom a Mother's Day card using it. And then the other half of the people are like, no way, Jose. Like, if, my mom would shoot me if I didn't go to the store. And I think it's interesting that, our perspective as users is that I wouldn't send cards before Felt. And so now that I am sending cards, they are in my handwriting. My mom loves it, period, because before she wasn't getting them in this at all anyway.
And it's mom, right? Because mom is going to appreciate it no matter what it is, right? So...
Yeah, I mean, I use Felt. Obviously, I'm a little different, but I use Felt for, business interactions. I use Felt for sincere, heartfelt expressions, because I just think I've been around this for a long time, and I've thought about this long and hard, and I've decided to put my own money into it, namely because when I handwrite it, no matter if I use my finger on my iPhone or if I use the Apple Pencil on my iPad or pen and paper, the fact that I actually handwrite my message, I have basally...
It's yours.
Like,
it's your thoughts. It's your idea. It's your spirit, right?
Yeah. And it's different than typing your message. It really is. And so I've, kind of resolved in myself that this is where the value lies.
Wow.
And it doesn't matter if you touch the paper or not. What really matters is that you crafted your message in a way that you don't typically do, right? You don't typically handwrite stuff. You don't typically send handwritten notes. So the fact that you did it is what is special. It doesn't matter if you actually went to the store, touched the stamps, did this, did that. What matters is the message is in your handwriting.
Exactly. Well said. Tomer Alpert of Felt. Tomer, why don't you tell the listeners how to find out more information and download your app?
Sounds great. Yeah, you can just go to the App Store on your iPhone or iPad, search for Felt, and you'll find us. And actually right now we're being featured by Apple. We're the #1 Father's Day app selected by them. So you can just scroll down on the home screen of the App Store and see Felt.
Sounds great. Tomer Alpert of Felt, thanks for taking your time out on Radio for Small Business.
Thanks for letting me on. Appreciate it.
Connect, capitalize, go. All new Radio for Business.
It's the podcast for business,
After that, I'm not doing people's lunch dishes.
highlighting the best emerging talent.
Oh my God, all these people that have gotten the product and wrote up on it. That's amazing.
The podcast for business, live every weekday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern.
If I think positive about the results, only positive results are going to come to me.
You never know what you'll hear.
If we didn't have that foundation, I don't think I would have had the balls. Well, I don't have balls, but
Hey, you can say it. We're on the internet. It's okay.
okay, I wouldn't have had the guts to do that.
Connect, capitalize, go.
Hi, I'm Eugene Rowe, host of the podcast for business. On behalf of our team, I'd like to say thanks. Every month, we're able to impact thousands of lives all over the globe with relevant, impactful, and insightful guests. Some of them have even been featured on national television shows like ABC's Shark Tank and CNBC's The Profit. Our mission is simple: to journey with you on your road to achievement. To do that, I'd like to invite you to partner with us in our Share All promise. I promise to continually share for free without commercial interruption and unnecessary subscriptions. And I ask that you go for small biz at homebiz.com for great interviews, tips, tricks, hints, and everything with real entrepreneurs. Connect, capitalize, and go. Okay, this guest built his business from the ground up. It's built by a passionate and driven brother-sister millennial team in their hometown of Carmel, California. Skylar, Scarlett, welcome to Radio for Small Business.
Yeah, Eugene, thank you so much for having me.
Now,
Pleasure to be on your show.
Oh, thank you. You're welcome. Glace Cryotherapy, that's your business. You guys just had a big appearance on national television. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that, and then we'll get into some specifics.
Yeah, no, so we, my sister and I, we, found a new therapy in America, and we dove right into it in our hometown, tiny Carmel, California. Only has a population of 4,000, but we really saw a quick success. And we applied to Shark Tank, I think, when we were 7 months in business. And fortunately for us, we beat out 70,000 other entrepreneurs to appear on season 7, episode 20.
Wow.
And have just kind of taken off ever since. And it's been quite the journey for us so far.
So, Skylar, you've already said 3 things I've got to ask about. First of all, you work with your sister. You know, a lot of people have sibling rivalries and things like that. How do you all get along, and how do you make the business run?
Yeah, that's a great question. Honestly, we're 6 years apart, and when we grew up, we hated each other. So that's a great question to ask. I think the thing is we're actually the perfect team. I'm kind of the big dreamer who, I think I could open 1,000 locations in a year. And she's more reserved and more the container. And, she makes sure that we're organized and balanced and we don't rush into anything. So we kind of balance each other out, and we have different strengths. I'm really the science guy, and, she's very good with paperwork and being organized and marketing.
Gotcha.
So we kind of have our different areas that we focus on. If you want to have a good entrepreneur team, you need to have both types of people. Someone who is a big dreamer who really, is very optimistic, and then you need to have someone who's more reserved, because the combination will really balance you out in the long term.
Right. And I've got to applaud you, because I've done business with family before, and it was weird because I ended up having to fire them, and they weren't as motivated as you two were. I mean, where's the drive come from with your business, Glace Cryotherapy?
Yeah, there is so much motivation between us both. When we started it, we were both kind of in a low spot. I had just been dumped by my college sweetheart. She broke my heart. And,
oh, man.
I was very motivated to, go out there and conquer the world and succeed. And my sister, had just gone through with a job where she had a horrible experience for 3 years. She come home crying from her job. And so she didn't really know what she was going to do with her life. And we kind of came together and found this cryotherapy and said, hey, this therapy is amazing. Can we make it work? So we said, yes, we can. We'll do it in Carmel, and, make this thing, which bring cryotherapy to America. So when we started, we were definitely at a low point, but, we both had the motivation to say we want to have better lives. We want to, to feel something inside of each other and, make this happen.
Wow.
That's really where the motivation comes from.
So even though two big personal, I guess, low points, like you said, you came out with a great idea, obviously, and then you're in business for 7 months and you beat out 70,000 applicants for Shark Tank. What do you think set you all apart from the other 69,993 applicants?
Well, first of all, I think we're lucky that we have such an interesting, therapy that we work with. I mean, first of all, when people say, oh, man, you freeze people for 3 minutes, it really catches people's attention. So first of all, cryotherapy is just different. It's a brand new industry here in America. So I don't think they'd ever had seen any audition tapes or anybody go in there auditioning for cryotherapy. We're probably the first. And then also the fact that we're brother, sister, and people go, how do you work with your sister? How do you work with your brother? And, we're both very, very passionate. And they could see that in our audition video, how passionate we were. And I think we really knocked it out of the park with our audition video. It's probably the hardest stage you got to get past when you're playing the Shark Tank. And, we made a good 10-minute video. I kind of popped out of the crowd on like a Jack in the Box. And they told us that the producers just loved the video. And I think that's really what set us apart.
So not only are you working with your sister, not only have you been in business 7 months and all of a sudden you get on Shark Tank, but you're also millennials. And, a lot of people say millennials are unmotivated, they're lazy. What do you say to that, knowing that you have a crazily growing business right now?
Yeah, I think, millennials are very misunderstood. Most of my friends, they all want to own their own businesses and do their own things. And I think a lot of millennials are striving, to get to the point where they can, try to do something on their own. Because I do think there's that misconception that we're lazy, we don't care. I can tell you right now that millennials are actually very, very passionate. I just know from my friends that they really do. We all kind of want to do our own thing and, have a huge impact.
Wow.
So I do like the fact that we're millennials and, we've seen quick success. Hasn't been without, the occasional valleys, which, every entrepreneur will encounter.
Right.
But there's been a lot of peaks, which have been fantastic for us so far.
So great. Awesome. So now a lot of people think just because you go on Shark Tank, you're a contestant on a TV show. Okay. But you're actually pitching a business opportunity, an investment opportunity. Had you guys pitched investors prior to even applying for Shark Tank?
No, honestly, not like that. I mean, we have met with so many potential partners and, individuals that are interested in cryotherapy, and a few before Shark Tank, but it was never in the capacity that we're really pitching our business for someone to give us a big chunk of money and invest in it. So that was really, our Velocity Cryotherapy is our first business. And I didn't really take any business courses in college, and neither did my sisters. So we've been kind of learning as we go. But there's no better way to learn than, learning by doing.
Yeah. So, on a national television stage, I'd say you're doing a pretty good job of learning. Okay.
Thank you.
So let's talk about the decision, because you are pitching a part of your equity when you go onto the show. What was the thought process you all had when you said, okay, we'll part with, X amount of the company? What was going through your mind? I guess what was balancing you out to say, we want to do it, but we want to do it right?
Yeah, there's a lot of decisions you have to make. And, we knew we wanted to, to keep full ownership on our side, but we were willing to give up a lot of equity. I mean, my sister and I, we're not greedy. I mean, of course we want financial security so we can, support ourselves and our family and our friends. But more so than anything, we want to see cryotherapy succeed. And we wanted to find the right partner that we thought, hey, they can, actually make cryotherapy, help us scale this in America. So we were definitely willing to, I think, part with at least 40% equity. And that was probably our final limit was 40% when we were going into Shark Tank.
Wow. So with that, I heard you mention scale. I think I visited your LinkedIn page and I saw the word franchise there. How are you guys scaling since being on the show, or what are the plans for scaling in the next couple of years?
Well, yeah, I mean, therapy spas in the whole country. I'm pretty sure 15 of them were in Texas. So it was brand new. And we're kind of, inventing the game as, we're going along, making the rules and everything. And we just said this therapy works so well that it really should be in every single city. And after a year, there's not 20 anymore. There's around 250 locations. So It's growing as I expected it to. We wanted, for franchise, you got to give people a reason to franchise with you. So, there's a huge learning curve to cryotherapy. There's ways to market it, ways to give the therapy correctly and effectively and give that good experience. And we feel like we've mastered that. And since Shark Tank, we've received probably over 1,000 franchise requests.
Wow.
But, your first 20 or so franchises are so important for setting up your future. They have to be very selective on who you choose and what locations you go into. But probably the most important thing that's happened is the vice president of a huge fitness club chain watched our Shark Tank episode, called me 2 days after the show and said, hey, how would you like to put Gameday cryotherapy inside of our fitness club? I said, absolutely. I love it.
Wow.
Right? I have all these franchise requests. And what's going to happen is we're about to finalize a deal this week, actually. They have over 600 locations in the country. And we can either put our own corporate locations or we can sell our franchise and have people buy into Gameday and open in these fitness clubs. So I think we're going to do probably both. But now we have something a little bit more proprietary to us because we don't make the equipment that we use. But if you want to go into this fitness club, you have to have Gameday over your name.
Wow.
So it's definitely something that's going to help our brand in the future.
Did I just hear you say basically that your brand tripled or quadrupled in locations and is going to do that in one deal?
Well, I think it gives us the possibility for it. It's just a huge opportunity. I mean, we're going to do our best to execute and scale it into all 600 locations, but that's going to take some time and, have to be done right. But we have a bunch of franchise requests and once I'm able to, present this to the franchise request we've already received, I think a lot of investors are going to jump all over it because it's a huge opportunity to own your own business, get into a new therapy that's really taking off, and it's going to be a great model inside of this fitness club.
Well, I tell you, it really sounds like you guys are having some rocketing success. Definitely you and your sister. What's your sister's name?
My sister's name is Brittany.
Okay, we want to give Brittany some credit too, right? Because she like you said, she keeps you grounded, right?
A lot of it. We wouldn't be where we are without her. I mean, if I didn't have her, I probably would have blown this thing all up because I'm so aggressive. But she really, she's amazing at marketing. There's no one better at marketing. And, as far as being organized, there was so much paperwork and phone calls and emails. And she is absolutely amazing at keeping us organized and on track. So without her, there'd be no Gameday.
Awesome.
That's without a doubt.
Awesome. Well, just in case you're just tuning in, we've been talking to Skylar Scarlett with Gameday Cryotherapy. Skylar, why don't you tell the listeners how to find out more about Gameday Cryotherapy?
Please visit us on our website, www.gameday.com. It has a bunch of great information for individuals to check out, and also it has a great webpage on it that will discuss the franchising possibilities with us. And then also, if you're in Carmel, California, my sister and I, we still operate on-site at our Carmel location. If you want to meet us in person, you can definitely come in, and I'm always happy to discuss Shark Tank and entrepreneurial advice to anybody that walks in. While I'm here, which I don't know how much longer that will be, but while I'm here, I'm definitely open to it.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Skylar Scarlett. Hey, if you're in Carmel, California, stop by and say hello. Gameday Cryotherapy, thanks for taking your time out on Radio for Small Business.
Yeah, thanks, Eugene.
Connect, capitalize, go.
Hi, I'm Eugene Rowe, host of the podcast For Business. On behalf of our team, I'd like to say thanks. Every month, we're able to impact thousands of lives all over the globe with relevant, impactful, and insightful guests. Some of them have even been featured on national television shows like ABC's Shark Tank and CNBC's The Profit. Our mission is simple: to journey with you on your road to achievement. To do that, I'd like to invite you to partner with us in our Share All promise. I promise to continually share for free without commercial interruption and unnecessary subscriptions. And I ask that you promise to share us with your friends. Here's something you like? Simply use the social share buttons at the bottom of the page to tell your network about the podcast For Business. It's simple, easy, and only takes 5 seconds. That's it, partner. You've made the Share All promise.
All new Radio for Small Business. Connect, capitalize, go.
So here's what you should know. Nate Barbera and Desiree Stoller's business all started when someone accidentally put a favorite tan wool sweater in the dryer. You should know Desiree Stoller, owner of Unshrink It, is on Radio for Small Business right now. Desiree, thanks for taking your time out.
Oh, you're welcome.
So you got to tell me, how old were you when you got the idea for Unshrink It, or the epiphany that sweaters don't go in the dryer?
Sadly, I was 28 when I realized that wool sweaters probably don't belong in the dryer ever.
So you got to tell the experience. Was it an emergency, or did you just say, let's see if it works?
Oh, it was negligence. when you're in graduate school, you're doing a million things at once. You're studying, you're on the phone, you're trying to do too much at once. And I literally just put all my clothes together in the same pile and thought they would all come out nice and beautiful and clean. And to my surprise, the wool sweaters came out a couple sizes too small.
Oh, boy.
Which is a little disconcerting, considering that when you're in grad school, you don't have money to replace wool sweaters. So I immediately started thinking, how can I rectify this? Because the last thing I want to do is have to either not have a sweater, it's frost and it's cold, or try to buy a new one. So I looked for home remedies and thought one worked really well. And I quote unshrunk and then proceeded to watch my sweater shrink back